All right, let's go ahead and show you the ever so popular house with Dadu here in Tacoma. I'll show you kind of the house as is, and then I'll show you what the house could be from an investment standpoint. So we walk in, this is the living room, we go into the kitchen area. We even got a little porch, which this is kind of hard to find actually here on the south end. This is more what you would find in central or north end of Tacoma. So that's a nice touch. We move on back here. Then we got the bathroom. I never really personally liked the bathroom right by the kitchen, but to each their own. We do have laundry. Then we move into bedroom 1 that is downstairs. As we move through, we circle back around to this more living area. Now that's as is. When we circle back towards the end of the video, I'll show you what I would turn that into. As we go upstairs, I'm not a fan of carpet, but if you're going to have carpet, the stairs is where you want it, especially here in Washington. It rains a lot. Don't want to slip and fall. All right, as we go upstairs, we'll show you the bedrooms up here. Another bedroom. 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 Interesting thing about this one, it loops around to the bathroom, but this whole floor has to share the same bathroom. So that might get a little weird. Might gotta lock that door. So this house, if you were to rent just the house, the whole house, to a family or something like that, the going rent would be about $3,000. If, this is what I would do if I was purchasing this property, I would seal that door off, delete it. I would seal this back into a wall, and I would make this area a bedroom. I would make it 6 bedroom, 2 bath. Doing so, you could rent by the room, drastically increasing the rent. Now, if you rented each bedroom out for $800, which is a good rental rate in our area, that'd bring in $4,800 per month. Now, as we go out back, that porch does kind of wrap around. We go to the Dadu, which I'll show you next. We're going this way. The one issue with doing rent by the room, though, would be the parking. Not very great. People would probably be backed up, right? I mean, maybe if I move my car over, you could fit two cars here, and then, but people will be backlogged, and there's not very much parking in the front. You can maybe fit 2 or 3 cars there, depending on the size. So we're looking at 5 cars for 6 rooms, and we haven't even hit the Dadu yet. Let's go take a look. So as we approach this Dadu, I believe it's a 2-bed, 2-bath. This one is the new build, so it's never been used. Very clean, very updated. Let's go take a look. So you walk in, it's got that new build smell. We got the mini split in the first bedroom. Some natural light coming through, which is nice. Come in here. Bathroom number 1. Oh, that's awkward. That light don't work. Coming into here, bedroom number 2. Again, we see the mini split. Oh, power must not be on. Bathroom number 2. So if you did rent by the room here, each person would have their own bathroom. So you could probably charge more, like $1,000 per room, though I'd honestly probably just rent this out to 1 or 2 people. Call it good at $2,000 rent. It's very updated, tall ceiling. You do get this small little porch, but it on looks, I don't know, kids playing or something. That's kind of interesting. But 2 bed, 2 bath can easily go for $2,000 here in South Tacoma. In the next part of the video, I'll be breaking down the math and what you'd be paying if this was your investment. This calculator is brought to you by WALRE, Washington Real Estate Investing. It is the largest investing group on Facebook in the state of Washington. Over 24,000 members. Immense values added every day. If you aren't already a part of the community, please join. If you're not sure how, shoot me a message and I'll add you to the group. So let's go ahead and take a look at the math of this property that we went and toured. I went ahead and put in the cost for $775. Both have been renovated and are move-in ready. So I put $0 for the rehab. Closing costs about 1% of the loan total. I'm not sure if you know this, but interest rates just dropped. So for the purchase, I put $599. There is a way for us to negotiate that down or buy down with points. But I just put $599 because anybody can go out and get that at the moment. Amortize over 30 years. And for this first look at the numbers, let's look at 20% down. Investment property down payment. Your down payment would be $124,000. Your payment would be $3,713. And your closing cash required is $131,000. That is a lot of money up front, not including the monthly operating expenses. Now, for utilities, there are ways that we can limit this or pass it on to the tenants, but worst case, this is about what you'd be paying in Tacoma for water, sewer, and trash. There is no PMI because you're putting 20% down. You still will need to pay insurance and taxes. And then for repairs, capital expenditures, and vacancy, I put 5% for each. Repairs and maintenance, these are kind of the run-of-the-mill things that break while owning property, whereas capital expenditures, these are more the higher cost items that don't pop up very frequently. The main one people think of is like a new roof, or anything that has to do with like sewer or septic issues. Those typically will fall under capital expenditures. And then vacancy, again, I put it at 5%, but in this area of Tacoma, the vacancy is actually lower, but we want to run our numbers conservatively. Now, the main house, like I talked about earlier in the video, could rent out for $3,000 if you rented out it as a 5-2. And then the DADU, the 2-2 in the back, could easily go for $2,000, bringing your total rent to $5,000 a month. Now, after all of the expenses and the mortgage, you are left with negative $423. So to purchase this property, you'd actually be losing money every month with the current way it's set up. However, if you wanted to try a different strategy and keep all the costs the same, keep the loan structure the same, but you just changed your strategy and you went to rent by the room model, like I discussed earlier, by adding in that additional bedroom, you could get this $3,000 rent to $4,800. That would drastically change the outlook on your cash flow. Now, adding a wall and things like that, let's just say it's $5,000. Okay, so you would still bring in about $1,000 a month positive cash flow, and your yield would jump up to over 9%. Now, I realize not everyone has $131,000 cash on hand. I get it, right? Times are tough, or maybe you don't make that much. No problem. If you were to house hack this, which means you intend to own or occupy, you would only have to put 5% down. So if we keep everything the same, but we put 5% down, that means you would only need $45,000 to buy this $750,000 house. $45,000. Now, I get that's not easy for everybody, but that's much more doable. Okay, to get up to $45,000 cash to purchase this property. And remember, we're not spending the money, we're moving it from our bank account to the property. So it's not lost, it's just moved. Now, if we were to move in, one of these rent incomes would have to change, right? Because you are telling the bank that you are moving into the property, and we actually want you to do that. We don't want you to commit mortgage fraud. So you would have to decide, would you live in the main house, in the 6-bedroom, 2-bath? I'm not sure. Most people probably won't do that. But you could probably have a roommate in the DADU and you rent it to them for 1,000. You take up a room. Okay. So now it shows you lose money every month. However, you're really paying $439 for a room in a private bathroom, which is very good. That's a great deal. You're probably paying more than that to live where you currently do. So maybe this is a deal for you if you are okay with house hacking and having a roommate. I would say most people cannot rent a room for that small. Or if you wanted the whole dadu, like let's say you have kids or your spouse isn't on board with renting out a room, you would have a 2-2 brand new paying $1,300 a month. That's a phenomenal deal in the Tacoma market. So I don't know if this is a deal for you, but this is how I would look at the deal if you were my client. There's lots of ways to look at these deals. What went from negative cash flow, we were able to find ways to make it cash flow all at the list price. Now, if we wanted to play around with the purchase price or the interest rates, I'm sure we could make this cash flow even more. But what I'm trying to get the message across is while you may see things listed on the MLS or on Zillow or on Redfin that don't make financial sense, there's always a different strategy that can be used, or numbers can be manipulated to make it a good deal. I look forward to doing more deal analysis. If you are looking at a deal and you want extra set of eyes, feel free to DM me. Or if you're in the market for your next purchase, I would love to have a conversation. Until next time, keep on saving.